They already own America. How are they doing internationally?
Yeah. On a constant currency basis, Apple would have reported 8% year-over-year growth and an extra which would have amounted to an extra $5 billion on the top line.
That would have been nice.
Right.
So obviously currencies is... Didn't Cook talk about that on the call? Like, we don't know what's going on, but the world's crazy right now with these currencies.
Yeah, he touched on it. He's like, there's just a lot of crazy stuff going on. That's basically the gist of it. It's like,
and did you see last night Japan's going negative with their interest rates?
Yeah,
they're actually charging
you
to... Anyway, all right, sorry to interrupt. Go on.
No problem. And so instead, due to the strong dollar, the company and investors had to settle for just a 2% bump. So, I mean, you think that's 6 percentage points difference that they faced due to currency headwinds.
Right.
Looking at China, obviously one of the really big markets for them. In fiscal Q4 2015, they experienced year-over-year growth of 99%, which is staggering. This quarter, year-over-year growth of 14%. That is it's still growth.
Yeah.
But,
it's not white hot or on fire or anything like that.
But it's definitely like a pump the brakes a little bit on that segment. Similarly, emerging markets, 65% growth in fiscal Q4 2015, and this most recent quarter, 11% growth.
Did everybody's worried about China, hard landings, all this stuff right now? Cook's still bullish on them, right? Like he's optimistic.
Yeah, the general tone that we got from the conference call was we're going to continue our rollout plans. I think they have the aim. I think there's something like 28 stores in China right now, retail locations, and they're looking to get to something like 40. I think at some point in the next year or two. None of this has impacted those plans. They're still going to run through with that. But the foreign stuff is legitimate concerns. 2/3 of Apple's revenue comes from outside the U.S. at this point. So the strong dollar, while it's fantastic for them buying components and things like that, does make it tough to operate in some of these foreign markets.
Long term, though, that is a pendulum that'll probably swing the other way eventually, I would think.
You have to think. I mean, we're not really in the business of like
macro calls and George Soros type things.
And, I think one of the things we always preach is that you can't predict, which ways currencies are going to move or what's going to happen on the more global scale. But the companies that are operating well have great products. Satisfied customers are going to continue to operate in that way. I think that's kind of what we see here with Apple. That said, they have had to make some regional price adjustments.
Up or down?
So up to counter some of
the currency
issues and devaluations. And so Luca Maestri, the CFO, in some of his comments during the conference call, had alluded to the fact that they've made some moves, but it's possible there could be a ceiling at some point. There is a trade-off when you raise prices that you're diminishing demand, and so I think that they know that inflection point is somewhere off in the distance.
Because you're willing to pay $150 or whatever above like a comparable Samsung for an iPhone, but once you start getting above that, it's like,
yeah, the brand cachet they have only offers so much price inelasticity.
They're not quite Tiffany's someday.